Hey, this is Kevin Douglas, recording some vintage. We're playing some Aggro Shops. We won the die roll. And so this hand has Mox, Mishra's Factory. We have a Sphere Resistance, a bunch of Foundry Inspectors. I'm not sure what we're playing, but it could be worth keeping. Several Foundry Inspectors seems pretty good. We are going to have to kind of waste a turn not doing much because I'm not going to really want to run the Sphere of Resistance out, I think. So opponent's mulligan down to 6. And I think we just run out Ghost Quarter pass, Ghost Quarter maybe Mox Emerald. I'm going to do Mox Emerald just in case they're on shops as well. Ghost Quarter kind of hides what we're playing maybe a little bit. I guess Mox Emerald might not give them too much information either. But this is a bit of a slow start. I'm okay keeping it against an unknown deck. Maybe depending on what we see here, we want to do something a little different. So it looks like we're going to get turn 1 Oath of Druids here. And there's not much I think we can do about that. So on the sideboard, we've got our Grafdigger's Cages. This game, I think we're probably just toast. Yeah, I'm not sure if there's anything we can really do, honestly. It would have been nice to draw some more fast mana to get a Sphere of Resistance down. But I guess we'll just see what kind of Oath deck they're on, whether it's like the Inferno Oath, or maybe it's just Grizzlebrand. Or, Emrakul. Still fighting this cold. I actually took a break from recording yesterday. Blightsteel Colossus. Okay. Yeah, I think we're just dead to that. So we'll go ahead and concede this game. I feel like that's kind of an interesting main board. So Sphere effects are good. Null Rod, don't really need. I think we can replace that with Grafdigger's Cages. And Winter Orb actually seems pretty good. Chalice seems alright. Lodestone's good. Sphere is good. Thorn of Amethyst is good. Revoker's in there to hit the Mox. Is Winter Orb better than Phyrexian Revoker? I'm not sure. I mean, Winter Orb seems like it could be pretty good. I think we'll just submit like this. Not sure I want to swap anything out for those Winter Orbs. Don't have enough experience with the deck to know for sure. This hand is a little bit slow as well. And no Grafdigger's Cage, so I think I'm going to mulligan. And we can get a turn 1 Trinisphere here. I think we're going to keep. I'm going to put that on top. And see if they have the Force of Will. It's no Grafdigger's Cage, but it should slow them down quite a bit. Especially if they don't have the combo. We'll draw some land. We got Foundry Inspector. They'll just play Polluted Delta and pass. Play that factory. And so if we go Foundry Inspector, then we still can't cast Phyrexian Revoker. So I think we just go Snare Thopter here and just start beating in. I'd like to see, you know, maybe they give us a target for that Phyrexian Revoker. I'm probably not going to be very good at just naming a blind card. Yeah, so Trinisphere is doing a good job slowing them down. You know, obviously they're not going to be able to play anything until turn 3, and so actually a Snare Thopter draw is very good here. So let's kind of keep pressuring them. And they might just have like Natural Oath. And so we're not out of the woods yet. The hope here is that they have to start doing some stuff to dig for it. Yeah, and I think since they're not slamming down an Oath of Druids here, we're looking pretty good. So there's Ancient Tomb. Let's see here. So I think we want to activate Factory. Swing in for 8. And that'll make these Snare Thopters lethal next turn. So anything short of, I think, like a Grizzlebrand coming in that we can't attack around is going to probably be a win. So Phyrexian Revoker, yeah, again, I don't really know what I can blind name for Phyrexian Revoker, so I think I'm gonna cast Foundry Inspector, cast Revoker, and then activate Mishra's Workshop. They could have like Balance or something, which will feel bad. So we actually have to pay 3 there. So actually, I'm just going to leave that there. Activate the factory. Swing in for that 8. And then either one of those Snare Thopters is lethal. So like I said, unless they get a like Grizzlebrand, and we just can't get around the lifelink. Hopefully we're not in like terrible shape. They might be able to like abrade a Trinisphere here. At our end step. Okay, so they're going to Ancient Grudge there. So they're going to have some mana to work with. Well, they're on their back foot. 1 life. They don't have any green mana to recast that Ancient Grudge. So unless they have, well, okay, unless they had a Tropical Island, they can't recast it either. So Time Walk here is what they need to win. And the fact they're still playing tells me they probably have it. And so it's got to be a Grizzlebrand. Okay, and they're also running Voltaic Key, so they definitely have some outs. Blightsteel's great. So they're not going to do anything too busted with Blightsteel unless they can flash back that Time Walk. And then even then we had the Foundry Inspector to block, so great. So kind of interesting. Both games we've seen Blightsteel Colossus as the Oath target. Doesn't really give us any extra information as to what other creatures they could be running. I'm trying to imagine if there's any builds of Oath that only would run Darksteel Colossus. Yeah, I'm just gonna submit this deck. I think Winter Orb is bad just because, I mean, once they resolve an Oath of Druids, which only costs 2 mana, there's not really anything that we can do. So, it doesn't really matter that they can't untap all their lands. They don't need to untap their lands to get those big creatures into play. This is a tough hand because it has Grafdigger's Cage, has Workshop, has all these like awesome busted cards, but it doesn't really have any like the payoffs. And we know they're going to be running like Metal Missteps or removal for Grafdigger's Cage, so we can't just totally bank on that. The one interesting thing is that Phyrexian Metamorph could copy a Blightsteel Colossus, but the same artifact removal that gets rid of Grafdigger's Cage that we know they're running, Ancient Grudge, which gets loaded into their graveyard from their Oath trigger, you know, could hit our Blightsteel Colossus as well. So, I think we have to mulligan this just because it just doesn't do anything. So, paid off. And let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put Precursor Golem on top. So this is a much better hand, even though it's just one land. So I think we're going to lead out Soul Ring. Because if I would rather have Soul Ring or Grafdigger's Cage, would rather have Grafdigger's Cage. They didn't Mental Misstep that, but that doesn't necessarily mean that. So we're going to Grafdigger's Cage here, and then cast a Chalice for 1, which does shut us off of casting any more Grafdigger's Cages. And their removal is 2 CMC, but, you know, hopefully it's just enough to slow them down. So they're going to brainstorm here. And then next turn we can run out a Precursor Golem, and then the following turn, Chief of the Foundry. So if we see a Tropical Island here and Oath, then there's always the risk that on their next upkeep they're just going to Ancient Grudge our Grafdigger's Cage, and we'll just be in big trouble. But they don't cast Oath. So we could actually Chief of the Foundry, Phyrexian Revoker, their Mox Ruby. Puts them behind on mana a little bit. They can still cast Ancient Grudge with their Volcanic Island. Precursor Golem's 9 damage on board, though, compared to the 5 that we'd get from Chief of the Foundry plus Phyrexian Revoker. So I think we got to go for Precursor Golem. It is a lot softer to getting destroyed, because anything that destroys our Precursor Golem destroys all 3 tokens. But I think Precursor Golem with the next turn Chief of Foundry looks pretty good. Especially if they don't have Oath yet. Might see a Force of Will here. Kind of seemed for a second like they were thinking about it. Yeah, here's the Ancient Grudge on the Precursor Golem, so at least that's one less Ancient Grudge to target our Grafdigger's Cage. And I'm not sure but I think they can still cast it through a Chalice of the Void, even with flashback, because the cards, the converted mana cost of the spell doesn't change. The alternate cost. So that is a weird bug. Some sort of weird flashback to my Precursor Golem getting destroyed again. Opponent's going to cast Flood Strand, pass. Looks like they thought about tapping something, but maybe Chalice of the Void made him reconsider. I'm going to go ahead and cast this Phyrexian Revoker first. What's the name? Mox Ruby. Mox Ruby. Then a Chief of the Foundry. Play out our Ancient Tomb. And at least now we have a clock going. But I feel like they're in a pretty good position with that Ancient Grudge. So hopefully their hand's just a bunch of cantrips they can't cast through Chalice. I'm trying to think of Oath lists in my head, and you know, how heavy on 1-drops they're gonna be. Another Tropical Island. So they got plenty of mana. 4 cards in hand. But they're still just choosing to pass here. So Revoker, might just name like Mox Emerald or Mox Sapphire, I think. I'll attack first, just in case they're, you know, if they want to kill one of our creatures, but they might not, you know, since they don't know what we have in our hand, maybe they want to save it to see. And so maybe get a little extra damage in there. Let's name Mox Sapphire. We could name like Black Lotus or something, but they have so much mana already. I'm just going to hit like a recurring source of mana that they potentially have. Nothing cast at our end step. There's Library. They're still 4 cards away from Library. They can't cast Ancestral or anything like that. Oh man, I thought about casting or naming Mox Emerald, but I went for the Sapphire instead. Punished. Sphere Resistance isn't like awful. And now with this Chief of the Foundry, these Phyrexian Revokers are actually pretty good threats. I mean, we're going to be getting in for 8 here. It's a 2-turn clock. They're going to have to do something this next turn. Maybe a Jace. But unless they have a counterspell backup. So they got a Tinker. So if we find another Chief of the Foundry, then we could have won. But I'm not sure why they scooped there. Because we were only going to be able to get in 5 damage if they had a Blightsteel Colossus to block with, or to attack with. So yeah, I'm not quite sure. But hey, that Phyrexian Metamorph play that we talked about, where copying a Blightsteel Colossus almost came true if the opponent hadn't scooped and stolen it from us. So, but yeah, with Phyrexian Metamorph, I think we were in pretty good shape there. I don't know. They have the Ancient Grudge, so actually maybe not, but yeah, especially with that Ancient Grudge. I mean, they have 2 mana here. They would have been able to destroy something. Yeah, I'm just really not sure why they scooped after casting that Tinker. So, but good games.